All right, greetings from my new abode. This is, I think, the first video I'm making from the new house. It's not about the new house. Wanted to talk about COVID, the mighty COVID. Seems like it's winding down around the world. There was a bunch of stuff that happened just before the Russian-Ukrainian thing. Took everybody's mind off of it. You know, there was mask mandates being removed from states in America and countries. That was kind of in the news. They couldn't really hide it. People doing videos and stuff. You know, it was coming out. They couldn't stop it as much as they wanted it to continue. So just wanted to talk about my personal experience with COVID. I think it's pretty well documented in my videos what I thought about it. What I thought about the lockdowns, wasn't very happy. I felt it was extreme measures, and you know, turns out I was right. The kind of guy I am, for those of you who know me, I'm just not afraid. And I'm not bragging, I'm just saying that's the way it is. It's the way it's been since I've been a little kid. I'm just not scared of the usual shit that scares people. The dark, noises, whatever. I don't respond like regular people do to that stuff. Where normal people would feel fear, I feel anger. I get mad. I don't know why. I just do. That's the response to things that would trigger fear in other people. Is it pisses me off. It is what it is. Anyway, so when the whole thing came out with COVID, oh, you're gonna get sick and die. You're gonna get sick and die. Oh, people are dying. People are dying. Oh, fuck, people die every day. You know, that's the reality. It's sad. I mean, I guarantee you, you know, X number of people are dying right now around the world. The news is just not covering it and labeling it COVID right now. So that's the deal. That's been the deal since this whole thing started 2 years ago. Small businesses got killed, and I'm always a fan of the small business. I'm not a fan of Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, you know, the fucking multi-billionaires who it's never enough. I'm a fan of the guy who wants to raise himself up from an employee to be owning their own business and being self-employed. I think that's the backbone of the world. And what's funny is it seems like that's the biggest group that's threatening these money guys, these billionaires. They don't like independent people. They like people dependent on the puppet governments that they put in place. It's all out there, guys. Just do some research. It's pretty simple. So anyway, my personal deal with COVID, I never caught it. In 2 years, I never got it. I'm sure I've been around people who had it, you know, in the past, malls, restaurants, whatever. I traveled as much as I could. You know, obviously the government here in Thailand restricted travel just like they did all around the world. And Thailand is, as a country, is still seriously feeling the effects of the lockdown for 2 years. It really hurt the tourism industry here, which is 20% of the GDP. So hopefully they'll open it up now that everybody's kind of figuring out this thing was much ado about nothing, you know. But my COVID story, now that I rambled on for however many minutes, is the family that owns the business that my girlfriend works at down at the market, the War Rat Market, which is a big market here in Chiang Mai. The family caught, I think, down in Bangkok, which is like New York City. So that's kind of been the epicenter of COVID for Thailand this whole time for 2 years. A lot of it starts down south. And then people who are there for business or there for pleasure or whatever, going down south for vacation or business, catch it and bring it back up to the north is kind of the way it's been happening. So the family of the owner of the business caught it first, gave it to each other. You know, the latest variant's known for spreading, you know, rapidly. And really soon, 5 or 6 of their 30 employees caught it from the family. Somebody who worked, one of the girls who worked with the family upstairs in the office, paperwork, whatever, gave it to a few other workers. One of those workers was a girl that works right next to my girlfriend. She caught it, you know, proximity, like the flu, right? If you're around somebody with the flu, you're going to catch the flu. You know, same. So she got it. Now, before she tested positive, we just thought, she had well, even before she had a sniffle or a cough, we thought everything was fine. And, girlfriend, boyfriend, we slept in the same bed. We were together for about a week, very close, watching TV, sitting next to each other on the couch, sleeping in the same bed, normal girlfriend, boyfriend stuff. So I was exposed to somebody who was COVID positive for a week before she tested. And, she started having symptoms, which were the sniffles, runny nose, cold, flu, right? At least for the Omicron variant, right? Whatever they want to call it, give it labels. That's what happened. So she tested. She went and got a kit for like 85 baht, like $3. I wonder how many of those test kits they sold, because it's all about money. It's always about money. If you watch this channel, you know that. So she tested positive, and she was freaking out. She's like, "Oh my God, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it." I'm like, "No, you don't understand. I traveled the world doing dirty deeds, dirt cheap for the government. And when they said don't drink the water, I drank the water, right? So my immune system is very strong. I don't catch colds. I don't get sick. I worked for 13 years in IT and never took a day off of work, not one. So I'm not normal, right? So I wasn't worried. I wasn't scared. Since this whole thing started, I haven't been scared. And come here, COVID girl. Come here. Come here. What do you mean no? Come here, COVID girl. You're alive. You had COVID, but you're alive. How's that possible? Yeah. How is that possible? How can you possibly be alive when you had COVID? Everybody's supposed to die if they have COVID, right? So she was definitely afraid. She wore her mask inside the car, all that crazy shit. Her face broke out in acne because she had the mask on all the time, and it retains dirt and moisture. The news worked with her. She was scared shitless for 2 years. So now she finally gets it. I don't get it, even though, once again, we were in, very close proximity. I took her to the hospital. They gave her some pills. What these pills are, I don't know. It could be all that shit that everybody's freaking out over in the United States, horse pills, whatever. It could have been ivermectin. It could have been hydrochloroquine or whatever the fuck it is. Who knows? I'm not sure what pills they gave her, but her friend, as I mentioned, had caught it, was positive 3 days before her, and then she got the cough and the sniffles. I bought the test at the mall. I had a expat club meeting, and I stopped at the pharmacy and picked up the test for her. She took the little test with the nose and the swab and all that shit, and turned out positive. So now that she's over it, it's been 2 weeks. And she really got over it in a week, just like her friends got over it in a week. And she's not afraid anymore. And that's why I'm saying COVID's kind of coming to an end now. It's kind of closing out because so many people are like her that were afraid of it and were complying and were scared. Now she's had it. She's like, I've had colds worse than that, So, like, what's the big deal? She's like, I was afraid of this for 2 years. Because I always said to her, if I get COVID, if I catch it from being out and about, because I'm not going to just stay in my house like they want you to, I'll go to the hospital and I'll get treated. Pretty simple, like any other disease. If you catch pneumonia, what are you going to do? Freak the fuck out. You go down to the hospital, you get treated by a doctor, and you go back to your normal life. The hell is everybody so afraid of? It made no sense to me. This entire 2 years, I've been shaking my head saying, what? What are you guys so afraid of? So now that she actually had it, and all her friends had, three of her friends from work had it, now they're all like, this was it? This was the big bad wolf? This was the thing, COVID, that we're so friggin' worried about? The first year, right, before the Delta variant came out, the first year of COVID, 2020, in a country of 70 million people, which is Thailand, where I'm living, 100 people died. 100. Now, to put that in perspective, the men here are fucking crazy, and they drive motorcycles fast, weaving in and out of traffic, cutting people off without helmets a lot of times, drunk a lot of times. And so 26,000 motorcycles people die in motorcycle accidents on the spot, on the scene. More die on the way in the hospital or in the hospital later, but 26,000 people a year here die in motorcycle accidents. There's no shutdown. There's no bans. They don't close bars. They don't ban alcohol. They don't ban, going to temple here with church in America, schools. They don't shut the country down, even though 26,000 people a year, every year, die because of motorcycle accidents. They don't do anything. So 100 people died of COVID. They shut the country down. 100 people out of 70 million. It made less sense here than it even made in America. It really did. It was just fucking ridiculous. It is, whatever. So what's happened now is so many people have caught it and gotten over it, like my girlfriend, that they're not afraid anymore. She's for the first time in the last 2 years, she's not afraid. I was never afraid. She was afraid, deathly afraid. Now she's not, because she had it, and now it's like it's a known quantity. It's not the dark, which so many people are afraid of, the dark, the unknown. It's known now. So the government's losing their power to manipulate the system and manipulate the situation of the pandemic, right? Pandemics come and go. SARS-1, bird flu, H1N1, right? We can name a bunch in the last 20 years, but never before have governments around the world use that as an excuse to shut everything down and keep it shut down as long as they possibly can. People want to be free. Governments don't want us to be free. The money guys who run the governments don't want us to be free. So, for what it's worth, if any of you are still out on the fence, if any of you are like my girlfriend and still scared, don't be scared. If you get sick, you go to the hospital and get treated like any other disease. There's nothing special about COVID. Okay, yeah, it spreads. So does the flu. The flu spreads too. Colds, common colds spread too. I remember growing up as a kid, I was cold season, and you go to school and other kids would get sick from other kids at school and all that. It happens. It spreads. The diseases spread. Viruses spread. Flus spread. All right, go if you catch it and get treated. Educate yourself. There was a big flap with Joe Rogan coming out and saying what worked for him. And of course, the big pharma has a vested interest in you getting treated with their drugs where they make money. Because the stuff that Joe Rogan took is very cheap. So it's a no-no. It's a big no-no. You can't take cheap drugs. You must take the brand name expensive drugs. So I can go on and on. I won't. I just wanted to tell you all that's what happened. My personal experience with COVID. Girlfriend caught it. I didn't. She's fine. She's not scared of the boogeyman anymore because she met it face on, dealt with it. And if you're still scared, it's time to fucking wake up, understand what's really going on, and move on with your life.